Hi there, welcome back to Vericom Telecom Consulting and another one of our videos. In our last video, we talked about voice procedure and some general topics surrounding what a good voice procedure would look like. In this video, I wanted to take a minute and let you hear some examples of poor voice procedure and good voice procedure. I have 3 examples for you. In each example, the first thing you'll hear is an incorrect transmission. And after which I'll jump back in and I'll talk a little bit about why the message wasn't very good and how it could be better. And then we'll listen to a better version of it. So here comes the first example.
Hunter, can you take care of that pump thing when you get a chance?
So in this example, there are a few things that are wrong. Number one is that the task isn't clearly defined. So what is Hunter supposed to do with the pump? What is the pump thing, so to speak? Another thing is that there's a lot of room for Hunter to interpret what he's actually supposed to do. So like we said, what is he actually supposed to do with the pump? But also, when is he supposed to action this directive? Some could argue that this is just a basic leadership problem, but it's all part of communications. So let's go ahead and listen to a better version.
Hunter, this is Coral. Secure pump 2 now. Over.
Coral, this is Hunter. Roger out.
Coral, who is giving the instructions, comes up on the radio, identifies who needs to be listening. So, Hunter. And then she identifies herself. Hunter, this is Coral. Then she gives a very clear instruction, exactly what Hunter is supposed to do, and when, which is now. And then she closes her message by saying over. And that tells Hunter that Coral is done talking and that she expects Hunter to respond. So let's move on to the next example.
Cat, yes, John, I'm calling about the, hang on. Never mind.
So in this example, it's pretty obvious what's wrong. So it's clear that John has no idea what he wants to say. And that can happen sometimes. But the important thing to remember is that when you get stuck or stumble and you need to take a pause to gather your thoughts, it's important to release your PTT switch so that somebody else can jump in and use the channel. In this case, we'll hear that somebody else was waiting to jump in with an emergency call. So let's listen to that.
Cat, this is John. Wait one.
All stations, this is Cadence. Emergency stop activated. Out.
Cat, this is John. Proceeding to location 2. Over.
John, this is Kat. Roger out.
So there's a lot going on in that transmission. But basically, John came up on the channel and started speaking, then realized he wasn't sure what he had to say. So he released the PTT switch, which let the next person jump in with their emergency traffic, and then John finished up after the emergency call, made his transmission, and then got the acknowledgement from the individual he was communicating with. So let's go and listen to the last example.
Hunter, that serial number is MNPB 5914.
Okay. Now in this example, you heard that there's a lot more background noise, and this can happen especially in analog radio systems where there's other interference sources, or maybe you're transmitting over a long distance. It could be just about anything. So the problem here is that the serial number that Kat wants to transmit happens to have a lot of letters in it that all sound alike. So MN, those sound alike, and P and B, they can sound alike, especially when you're transmitting through a lot of heavy noise. So in this case, it's important to use that phonetic alphabet or a phonetic alphabet that you've come up with to make sure that letters and numbers are interpreted correctly. So let's see what that can sound like. Here we go.
Hunter, this is Kat. Serial number I spell. Mike November, Papa, Bravo, Fight. Niner, 1, 4, over.
Cat, this is Hunter. Roger out.
So you can see right away how much easier it is to understand the serial number that Kat needed to transmit when she used that phonetic alphabet. We're not going to mix up Mike and November for M and N. And we're not going to mix up Papa and Bravo for P and B. Numbers can also sound alike. So you heard 5 and 9. And in a noisy environment, those sound very similar as well. But when we pronounce them as Fife and Niner, it's much easier to determine which one is which. So I hope this video has helped illustrate some of the challenges we can have when we don't use a voice procedure. Again, voice procedure isn't about sounding official or making us sound cool on the radio. It's really about making our communications clear, brief, and unambiguous. Not tying up the radio system by stumbling over our words, and ensuring that the recipient of messages understand who's calling, who is being called, the message that needs to be transmitted, and when the speaker is finished talking. So thanks again for sticking around for another video from Vericom Telecom Consulting. Reach out and ask me how I can help you with your telecom needs. Thank you.